Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King, and we come to you from the locker room today, once again on the campus of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. We're going to talk some Islander hoops with head coach Willis Wilson of the men's program and head coach Royce Chadwick of Islander women's basketball. We also have a special feature focusing on Islanders women's golf, which gets underway this week. Right now, let's talk some men's hoops. Coach, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Willis Wilson talking with us. Since the last time we spoke here on Islander Insider, you've taken the team on a 2-game road trip. You've also played 1 game at home at the Dugan Wellness Center. But before we get into specifics of the game, I'm just starting to realize that the season has really moved by quickly. Maybe it's just from my vantage point. I don't go to practice every day, but it seems to have moved by really fast.
It's gone by incredibly fast. There's so many things that you want to work on as a coach and kind of prepare as the season winds down. And at the end of the day, you've got to work on the things that are necessary to have success on game day. And so it goes by incredibly quickly, especially this time of year. Once you get into February, there aren't a whole lot of significant things that you have to work on. We said this back in January. Everybody knows who they are now. Well, you pretty much kind of define who you are. And now it's more about getting players to play at their best and at a level 5 so that you can win on game day.
No doubt. Over the last 3 games, your team did go 2-1, and I'll go ahead and just dive right into it real quickly. The game at Stephen F. Austin. We lost there, unfortunately. They are very tough at home, as their record indicates. They haven't lost there, I think, once in the last 2 years, as a matter of fact. Why are they so tough at home?
Well, one, you look around and you see the fan support. The day we played there,
Sure.
an arena that seats about 7,000 had 6,200 fans.
There you go.
That's called a home court advantage. That's what you need to be able to be successful and to become a mid-major breakthrough type program, fan support. And when you have fans, it makes it hard for the opposing team to call their signals, and you have to really dial in and execute in terms of facilitating. Mm-hmm. In those kind of instances, and that can be the difference in 1 or 2 plays that ultimately make the difference in the outcome of the game. That's something that teams in our league really don't have a lot of practice for. But when you think about Stephen F. Austin, when they go on the road, they get the opposing team's biggest crowd. When they play at home, they get the big crowds.
Right.
And so they have a lot more practice and preparation in those areas than most of us.
In that game, it seemed like it was a 7-point game the whole time. We were kind of stuck in a lead. One thing that I noticed was we did not get a lot of free throw opportunities. And I just kind of looked back at the stats, and that's not a comment on the officiating. I would say more of an observation that it seemed that we didn't kind of create some of those chances. I don't know if we were aggressive enough. I kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes when you're making aggressive moves to the rim and you don't get a call, you tend to shy away. That didn't work out. Missed the shot, didn't get a foul, didn't get to the free throw line. So you start to look for other things. You start to settle a little bit. And I think that's what we did in that game. The other thing that happens, and this has been the case, I think, there the last 2 years, especially 2 years ago, but still was part of the problem. We missed some point-blank baskets that really changed the dynamic of the basketball game. Rashawn Thomas opened the game with a miss early on. That's 2 points that you don't get back. Bryce Duvier had a beautiful drive to the basket for a slam dunk, misses it, and creates a little problem for us.
A little game-changing moment potential right there as well. After that game, though, you took your team, stayed on the road. As a matter of fact, took your team to New Orleans and ended up getting the split, winning that game 65-57. That game was really all about the point guards, Hamid Ali and Ehab Amin. They did most of the heavy lifting. Now, Hamid led the team in points, assists, and steals, while Ehab was second on the team in scoring and led the team in rebounds that game. Great performance, but not necessarily, I assume, the way you drew it up.
Well, there's no particular way that I draw it up on any given night. It's all about our guys performing at a high level. That's the advantage of having depth. That's the advantage of practicing the way we do. We have confidence that guys can come in and perform when somebody's down. Our big guys did not have the best of nights. Nonetheless, we were able to find some ways to get it done, and I thought our defense was just scrappy for 40 minutes. We really took the challenge when they tried to make their run, and we had guys really step up and just do the job for us. It was really, really just excited to come away from there with a win, because I know excuse me, I know that those guys had a little bit of payback on their mind.
Oh, there's no doubt. Speaking of payback, I assume it wasn't hard to motivate your team in the rematch against Incarnate Word that took place here at the Dugan Wellness Center this past weekend. After the tough performances at New Orleans, it looked like Rashawn and Bryce, who you mentioned, did not have big games at New Orleans. They bounced back really strong, each finishing with double-doubles.
Yeah, and I was really happy for both those guys, but really more happy for our team. Our team came out and played in a manner that's really fitting for our program. We still haven't put the two halves together, and that's a little bit disappointing. But nonetheless, to be able to play at a level 5 for 20 minutes in the way that we did, making shots, the ball moving freely, guys playing with confidence and aggression, getting the steals and getting the stops on the defense side of the ball. And it's not one guy that you can point to on either side of the ball that's making all those things happen. Mm-hmm. It is a total collective team effort. And we've got to figure out a way to be able to do that for 40 minutes. That's what it's going to take to be able to win this conference tournament and to really have a chance to be successful in the postseason.
Well, it was a huge game. Monster first half, led by 30 points at the half. The shooting numbers were off the charts, especially like over the first 12, 15 minutes. It just didn't seem like we could miss. It all evens out a little bit in the end, and they fought back a bit, but we just played one of our best performances of the year. And Coach, it was the 20th win of the season. And that's key. And making it back-to-back years, your team has hit that magic number of 20 wins. Definitely a great accomplishment for this year's team, but I'd say even a greater accomplishment for the development of the overall program. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, I would. I mean, we're going in the right direction. I mean, we've got a chance to maybe win 60 games in over a 3-year period. That's a challenging thing to be able to do. But to have 21 seasons back-to-back with games still to play,
absolutely.
It means we're going in the right direction, and it says a lot about our program. There are guys that were here 2 years ago, guys like Joy Williamson, Zane Knowles, and Will Nelson, and guys like that were a part of that first 18-win season at a time when we went into conference play with only 3 wins, and then to turn that thing around and to get 14 wins in league and then to win a game in postseason. That's a footprint that we've been able to really take advantage of and build on. And so here we are going into this season with a chance to really get hot and make a run.
Make a run, no doubt. You're heading back on the road, playing 3 on the road to wrap up the season. Sam Houston State, Houston Baptist, and Abilene Christian, the next 3 on the road. Not only are a couple of those teams looking for revenge against you guys, but they want your number 2 slot in the Southland Conference standings. This is going to be no easy task.
Good news, bad news. Good news is that we have to go on the road to play those folks. The bad news, or that's the bad news, I guess. The good news is that they have to play each other. Stephen F. Austin is still in the mix, and they have to, I think both those teams also have to play Stephen F. Austin. So there's some things that could change dramatically here in the last 4 or 5 games for Stephen F. Austin, or it could pretty much stay the same. I think when it's all said and done, it's really, really important for us to be able to lock up that second place finish and get the double bye.
You know, by the time this show airs, we'll have played our final home game of the season against Abilene Christian. And I'm not looking to preview that game, not talk about it, but I wanted to ask you about Senior Day. You know, because it is Senior Day that day. We've hung our hat this season on the fact we have one of the most experienced teams in Division I basketball. Now's the time we start the process of saying goodbye and thank you to these guys.
No, absolutely. And, I get a little bit of sentimental emotion. I mean, it's like having kids and you got 8 of them that are leaving the house.
8, I know.
All at the same time, and you know you want to honor each of them, and you want to do right by them, send them out with a win. But just a terrific group of guys. I mean, a group of guys that I've fallen in love with, and they're family for me, and they will be for the rest of my life, and hopefully for the rest of their lives.
No doubt. Coach, good luck this week.
Thank you.
Willis Wilson joining us here. Stay with us, more to come on our Christus Bond Health System feature segment. We'll be talking about Islander women's golf. That's all coming your way right here on Islanders Insider.
My family has been growing crops here since the late 1800s.
We're Texas farmers through and through, and that's why we love HEB. They've been supporting local farms like ours for generations.
They buy more of our corn than anyone else in Texas.
over 10 million pounds annually, and they use it to make great products like H-E-B corn chips.
So when you try them, you're eating a little piece of Texas.
We're the Sawed-Off family, and this is the locally grown department at H-E-B. No store does more than my H-E-B.
On behalf of all student athletes, thank you to the members of the Islander Athletic Fund for allowing us to earn a great education at the Island University.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to play the sports that we love.
Thank you for preparing us to achieve excellence in the classroom, in competition, and in our community.
Thank you for providing us with a first-class campus experience.
Thank you for the chance to represent Corpus Christi with pride. Thank you for making us Islanders for life.
Thank you for making us Islanders for life.
Thank you for making us Islanders for life.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. This week on our Christus Bond Health System feature segment, we focus on Islander women's golf and the start of their spring season.
Well, we have two new freshmen, one Danny that is from Germany, and she came in and she has just been great. She made adjustments really quickly and easily. Studying was no problem. She did great in school. She bonded real well with the team, and obviously she played well on the golf course, so that was neat to see her. But I felt like we had some really good things happen in the fall, you know, kind of glimpses of glory. And then we also found some things that we need to work on. We still need to make sure we have that fourth score. We count 4 scores, so we can have 3 of them playing great. Unless we bring that 4th one in, we still struggle a little bit.
Danny is great. She's probably our best freshman we've ever had. I knew that from the beginning when I first met her and saw her game. She's very motivated, she's very determined, she's very competitive, and that's everything that we need. Well, in the fall we had some really good scores, and we had a couple top 10s. And so we've been working really hard this semester, and we're excited for our first tournament of the spring. And you know, leading up to conference in 2 months, we're super excited, and I think it's going to be different this spring because we know what we did in the fall and what we need to work on, so we're really excited.
We really came together as a team. Like socially, we really bonded a lot. I know Vanessa's had a lot to do with that. It's been pretty great to have her back. I mean, Danny got her hole-in-one. I got a hole-in-one the week after. Like, I mean, back-to-back. What can you say?
I definitely feel like I'm the leader just because I've been here for 4 years now, so they reach out to me whenever they can. The juniors know more or less what to do, but it's always nice just helping the freshmen, you know, understand the challenges that they're going to face with workouts and study hall and just balancing their social life and golf.
I think we're going to have a really good spring. Like I said, we've got good team chemistry going. They've been working really, really hard. Vanessa is really finding her stride again. We've got a great freshman, and Anna, she's just really stepping up. She played last Sunday, and the conditions were a little rough, and she shot 73, and it was a qualifier for a tournament. So it is so neat to see them step up in those conditions and play well. So we're expecting good things.
Lung cancer is the leading cancer killer in both men and women. Because most cases are diagnosed in the most advanced stage, early detection is the key to survival. Are you between the age of 55 and 74, have a smoking history of at least 30 pack years? Radiology and Imaging of South Texas and Christus Spohn Cancer Center have joined together to offer affordable lung cancer screenings. Call 1-855-557-7646 to schedule, because what you can't see can kill you.
Down to Katy, March 9th through the 13th at the Merrill Center. Go to Ticketmaster.com or Southland School Ticket offices.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we're talking some Islanders women's hoops with the head coach, Coach Royce Chadwick. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, Stephen. How are you?
Really good. First off, congratulations on an outstanding effort in the final home game of the season, knocking off Incarnate Word this past weekend at the Dugan Wellness Center. During the season, your squad struggled playing full 40-minute games. That was not the case against Incarnate Word.
Well, it was senior night, and during senior night, you have a lot of emotion. And you hope that your seniors, with the experience they have, channel that emotion into positive energy for your team.
And everyone feeds on it.
Absolutely, and we got exactly that. I think Shola Adebayo had 4 assists in the first quarter. Janeska Lawler established us an inside presence low. Jennifer Ramirez played the entire evening without a turnover and ran the show for us. And Shay Weaver was shooting the ball from three-point line and lighting them up. So all the seniors had a great senior night, and that's the time you want to play your best with your parents in the stands, and hopefully we can channel that emotion and keep it going for the rest of the year.
There is no doubt. Just to be more specific, because I was going to address that as well, Shay Weaver did knock down 4 threes on the night, led the team in scoring. Shola Adebayo had 5 assists to lead the team, also 5 steals to lead the team. 5 steals is just what Shola does, to be honest with you. G. Lawler, career high 12 points. And Jennifer Ramirez, as like I said, 4 assists, no turnovers on the night. Just did a nice, great, efficient job at the point position. It was by far the best combination performance for that senior class this entire year.
Well, the first thing, each one of those girls brings something different to the table. Shola on the ball is a very good defender. And she took the ball from their point guard a time or two, but once you do that, it gets in the point guard's head, and it changes the way you run your offense. So they, because of Shola's presence on the ball, it moved their entire offense up 2 or 3 steps, and that makes everything different. So she really established some things for us on the defensive end. Shay with the 3-point shot opened up G inside because they had to come out and guard her. G with the low post presence opened up the 3-point shot. So Jennifer running the show, not making any mistakes. I think she took 1 shot all night long. So, you know, she's quarterbacking, and she bought into, I'm going to set my team up, and they really played well. So I was very happy for them.
One thing I loved about G. Lawler and the fact her families are the nicest people in the world, you know, but she's playing with a certain level of aggressiveness right now that I just have not seen from her, but she's playing within herself, wise, smart, taking great drop steps, using excellent footwork. But when she needs to just be strong and be physical, she's throwing some people around right now.
Well, there was an old comedian that said one time, boy, when I get thrown in jail, I go up and slug the biggest, tallest guy there, you know, so they know how tough I am. Incarnate Word came in with that mentality. They were going to beat up our biggest, toughest post player. And that was a mistake because G decided, no, you're not going to make that happen, and it was very rough inside. It was a toughness check for any post player. I think that they shoved some of our post players off the block and were very physical, holding, pushing, and we got intimidated and were unable to play. They were doing that to Janeska, and she was like, you know, no, this isn't happening, and really held her own in the paint and established this is not going to happen to us, and our team went right along with her. So she led by example.
It's just a little frustrating, you know. She did so much work in the off season to get prepared, and then she had the knee injury and had to kind of restart all over again and come back a little slowly off of her knee injury, and just what could have been is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, she's really worked hard, and you never know how much an injury is going to set you back. And you miss 8 or 10 games in the season, very difficult to bounce back from that. And she showed a lot of character in that I'm going to focus. This is my last year, and I'm going to make it back. And to her credit, she has, and she made it back at just the right time. See if we can carry that over. We got 3 games plus Katie. If we can win some of these, we're going to be in great shape to go into Katie with a little momentum.
Talk quickly about the development of the freshmen. There are freshmen that are getting substantial minutes now. Madison Turner, Yuri Jolivet, Mickey Flores. They are looked to be not just freshmen anymore. They're looked to be contributors for you.
Absolutely, and I think it'll pay them big dividends as we go through their careers. Most freshmen in programs where you have 4 or 5 seniors, if they get in 6, 7 games a year, it was a really good year for them. Our freshmen have all started a game for us and have had opportunities to play quality minutes, and I think that they're not freshmen anymore. You know, I think they're beyond that point because they've already had so many minutes that they're playing at a different level, and it'll be another test for them to see if they can crank it up to play at the March level, and we'll see what they can do.
Well, right now your team currently holds the 8th and final seed in the Southern Conference Tournament, and actually are tied with Lamar record-wise, but I think currently they have the head-to-head tiebreaker. But because it is so tightly bunched at that place, not only can you get in the tournament, but you can actually still advance in the tournament with a few wins along the way.
Well, you know, we can change our seed without a doubt, but we got to get into the moment right here, right now. We have to go beat Sam Houston. That's the most important thing that we have. We can't be looking at, well, if we win this and so loses that, then this. You go control your destiny. We don't have to have help from anybody to get into the tournament. We need to help ourselves, and so that's our focus, to try to go win the next game.
Well, like you said, Sam Houston State's next up. Last time you played, you had 5 players scoring double figures. You shot 50% from the floor. Can we repeat that performance?
Probably have a hard time with doing the same start that we had against Sam, because in that first quarter we had 6 threes and we had 25 points on them. And Brittany Bomaloo hit the first 2 threes of the game, 1 from each corner. Then Shay, I think, hit a 3. Mickey hit a 3. So we jumped out on them with a 3-point shooting barrage that you can't count on every night. I mean, we hope that it happens, and we hope that we have that kind of a perimeter game, but we got to lock down defensively. We know what Sam likes to do. They got a post player that you have to be able to stop, not one-on-one, but you have to double team. They got guards that can shoot the 3, and then they got a guard that can penetrate and score on anybody. You have to double team those people. So we have to be able to tell the difference in number 1 and number 2 on the floor. And what does 1 like to do? We have to take that scout to the floor. But we've got a week to put that in, so hopefully we'll have an opportunity to go out and take the scout to the floor and get it done.
Coach, best of luck.
Thank you.
Royce Chadwick joining us once again here in the locker room, talking some Islanders women's basketball. When we come back, we'll bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders athletics. More to come on Islanders Insider. Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we look ahead to see what's next for Islanders athletics. On Friday, February 26, Islanders softball will be traveling to the Texas A&M Invitational in College Station. They'll take on UTEP starting at 9 a.m. And also on the 26th, they'll play their second game of the day as they take on the host team, the Aggies of Texas A&M, at 5:15. Islanders softball will return to the tournament the following day as they'll take on UTEP once again at 9 a.m., followed by a matchup against Indiana at 1:15. And finally, Islanders softball will take on the host Texas A&M one more time on Sunday the 28th at 12:15. Islanders softball will continue their season as they return home to take on UTSA on March the 1st. That's Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Islander baseball will start the Clayburgh Bank College Classic on Friday the 26th as they take on the University of Central Florida at Whataburger Field starting at 6 p.m. They'll return to Whataburger Field on the 27th as they take on Michigan State. That start time 6 p.m. and then wrap up the tournament on Sunday the 28th as they take on Texas State at 3 o'clock. Islander tennis will continue their spring season as they travel to UTRGV on Friday the 26th. Start times for that dual match, 12 o'clock. And then on Sunday the 28th, Islander men's tennis will travel to Dallas, Texas for a neutral site matchup as they'll take on George Washington. That start time, 1 o'clock. And then Islander women's tennis will be back at the Thomas J. Henry Tennis Center on Wednesday, March 2nd as they host UTSA at 2 p.m. Islander women's basketball will head out on the road on Saturday the 27th as they travel to Huntsville, Texas to take on Sam Houston State. That start time, 4:30. And Islander men's basketball will also head out to Huntsville on Saturday the 27th as part of a doubleheader. That start time against the Bearcats, 7 p.m. Once again, we want to thank the head coaches for joining us here today, Willis Wilson of Islander men's basketball and Royce Chadwick of Islander women's basketball. And most importantly, we want to thank you for tuning in. For everyone here at Islanders Insider and Islander Athletics, thank you for joining us. I'm Stephen King. You've been watching Islanders Insider.
All right, everybody, if this doesn't get your toes tapping, then check your pulse.
The joy of cola, joy of bubbles, joy of fun, joy of Pepsi on your tongue. Greatest taste sensation under the sun. Pepsi Cola.
I'm Christy Felice, and I am the Director of Brand Engagement for the Houston Astros. Texas A&M University Corpus Christi has absolutely helped get me to where I am today, and it is a small campus with large opportunities. You should definitely choose Texas A&M University Corpus Christi.
97% of A&M Corpus Christi graduates will be working or in graduate school upon graduation. Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Discover your island. Visit us today at tour.tamucc.edu.